Well, immortality and a virtually limitless supply of energy are frequently the two things that come to me when I consider the greatest accomplishments of the human race, or possible greatest accomplishments. Particularly in this era of insatiable materialism, I'm not sure where that will place us on the Kardashev scale. And in this Kardashian centric society, I'm not entirely sure about the tectonics of those discoveries. As long as they're not disturbed when consuming superficial dopamine triggering stuff, the dream society is indifferent to possibilities for the future. Please understand that I'm not immune to the current sexy stage of society, but I am at least conscious of my weakness and temptations. So, how might the dream society benefit from commercial fusion energy sources? Will it make people more likely to buy things, or more than that? In Rolf Jensen's Dream Society, tales, experiences, and emotional resonance are just as important as goods and knowledge in creating value. Such a society might be significantly impacted by the introduction of commercial fusion energy, which is plentiful, clean, and reasonably priced, hopefully. Fusion has the potential to generate energy too cheap to meter in the long term and offers essentially infinite clean electricity. At least that's what it is in theory. Many resource limitations might be lifted from people and organizations as a result of this wealth, freeing them up to concentrate more on the Dream Society's core values of creativity, experience, and emotional fulfillment. Funny enough, the most of the unemployed people I meet these days have the title content creator listed as part of their work description. No one would have time to consume anything if there were so many content creators. In fact, only 2.5% of consumers are content providers compared to 97.5 uh, uh, of consumers. So it's 2025. There's more than 200 million creators globally. Apparently, approximately 2.5 of the world's populations are creators, as I have said. And so the great majority of people just continue to interact with the stores, goods, and material created by this comparatively small set of creatives, primarily as consumers. I'm not claiming to be able to make any predictions, but the question is this: where will our society stand in terms of technological advancement in the not too distant future if we keep consuming energy without experiencing any problems? Will unlimited AI processes and infinite energy be in charge of everything forever and ever? Although I am unable to respond to that question, ITER is currently one of the most promising fusion programs. Let's see what this is all about. Unable to avoid it, the song To France by Mike Oldfield is playing in the background of my thoughts, and I really hope to go back to France sometimes in the future. Côte d'Azur, here I come. Currently being built in Catarache, southern France, ITER is a significant multinational nuclear fusion research and engineering project. Its main goal is to show that fusion power, which powers the sun, is a scientifically and technically feasible process on a scale appropriate for future energy production. One of the biggest and most ambitious international scientific initiative ever launched, ITER is a partnership between China, Europe, India, Japan, Korea, Russia, and the United States. And in order to determine whether a large-scale experimental fusion reactor was feasible, the European Commission, Japan, the United States, and the Soviet Union worked together under the International Atomic Energy Agency in 1978 at the International Tokamak Reactor Workshop, which gave rise to the concept for ITER. And I can't stop highlighting Michael Gorbachev's significance for global scientific advancement as well as for world peace. I don't think I'm overstating it when I suggest that we would all flourish if there were more people like Gorbachev. when Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev suggested to U.S. President Ronald Reagan a cooperative effort to construct a fusion reactor for benign reasons during the 1985 Geneva Superpower Summit, the proposal acquired tremendous traction. What happened to that world, I don't know. When Berlin Wall fell, we expected the world to be different. It's not, but ITER is still there. So, the ITER project was formally started in 1988 and conceptual design work continued until 1990. Teams from several nations participated in engineering design work between 1992 and 1998. In 1998, the U.S. briefly left because of financial problems, but it returned in 2003 along with China and South Korea. A new, more economical design was finished in 2001, and following partner talks, Cadarache, France was chosen as the ITER location in 2005, and the right to host relevant research facilities was granted to Japan. In 2006, India became a part of the initiative, and civil engineering started when the ITER organization was legally created by treaty. The tokamak complex's development formally commenced in 2007 and reached significant milestones in 2010 with the installation of seismic foundations and support structures. A significant regulatory milestone was reached in 2012 when ITER was granted a nuclear operator license in France. Major components were manufactured and delivered between 2013 and 2020, and a machine assembly official started in July of 2020. The project's initial estimate of 5 billion euros has increased to between 18 billion and 20 billion euros due to major delays and budget hikes. A revised schedule was released in 2024, estimating that the deuterium-tritium operations would begin in 2039 and deuterium plasma operations in 2035. With research operations anticipated to begin in 2034, full magnetic energy by 2036, and deuterium-tritium operations starting in 2039, ITER is in the advanced stages of assembly as of 2025. In order to make significant progress towards practical fusion energy, ITER's main objective is to reach a fusion gain of 10, which would mean that it will generate 10 times as much energy as it uses. So what most recently happened was, according to Phys.org, ITER completes world's largest and most powerful pulse magnet system, and then the central solenoid's 6th module, which was constructed and tested in the US, was the last part. The central solenoid will be the strongest magnet in the system when it's put together, and the ITER facility in south of France. It will be capable of lifting an aircraft carrier. Well, that is something. 6-ring shape palladial field magnets manufactured and supplied by China, Europe, and Russia will cooperate with the central solenoid. The pulse magnet system will weigh close to 3,000 tons when it is fully constructed. It will serve as the electromagnetic core of the tokamak ITER's donut-shaped reactor. The completion and installation of all major components for ITER's massive superconducting magnet system, which was completed in April 2025, is the most recent and noteworthy development at the facility, and this includes the production and delivery of the central solenoid's 6th and last module, as I have said, which was built in the US and is being prepared for integration at the ITER facility in southern France. And it is often referred to as the electromagnetic heart of ITER. The central solenoid is 18 meters tall, weighs over 1,000 tons, and has the capacity to produce magnetic fields powerful enough to raise an aircraft carrier. That's bonkers. When chilled to 4.5 Kelvin, its superconducting niobium tin coils can maintain plasma currents of 15 megaamperes for a number of minutes, whatever that means. Together with 6 enormous palladial field magnets from China, Europe, and Russia and other parts, the central solenoid creates a complex magnetic configuration that is necessary for plasma confinement in the tokamak reactor. ITER expedited the assembly phase by inserting the first vacuum vessel secture module in the tokamak pit in April 2025, 3 weeks ahead of schedule. And so ITER is now ready for the next stage of the project, which will involve complete reactor operation, having achieved all of its building goals by 2024. With the U.S. spearheading the central solenoid, Japan providing superconducting strands, and other countries contributing magnet structural systems and infrastructure, more than 30 countries made contributions to this phenomenal project. And so the world's largest and most powerful device being built for clean energy reached an important milestone in 2025. This is very much, this year will be remembered. And eventually the experiment will enable researchers to introduce a small amount of hydrogen fuel, which consists of deuterium and tritium gas, into ITER's massive tokamak chamber. The two hydrogen isotopes that have been found to be the most effective means of producing fusion and are deuterium and tritium, as I have said. After that, an electrical current will be sent by the pulse magnet system to ionize the hydrogen gas and produce a cloud of charged particles known as plasma. Light elements can merge and produce energy in plasmas, which are referred to as the fourth state of matter. What is really interesting is that Russia is still an active full participant in the ITER fusion energy project, notwithstanding its continued aggression in Ukraine. Superconductors, magnetic coils, switchgear equipment, and gyrotrons for plasma heating are just a few of the vital parts and technologies that Russia still provides. Russian scientists and institutes continue to play a significant role in ITER's technological development and research endeavors, and Russian components are still being shipped and manufactured. How long will that last? We don't know. Well, there is a growing concern, particularly within the European Union, about the risks associated with Russia's continued participation. These concerns include the potential for advanced fusion technologies such as tritium management, which has military applications, to be diverted for non-civilian use. The partial dependency of ITER on Russian components also creates vulnerabilities to political pressure and supply disruptions. Due in large part to the project's special structure and the vital need for international cooperation in fusion research, ITER has so far remained an exception to the UN, European Union, and NATO's attempts to isolate Russia diplomatically and economically as a result of its action in Ukraine. Russia's involvement is still ongoing, even though the European Commission is actively evaluating the dangers and thinking about ways to reduce security concerns. The Director General of ITER has underlined the value of global collaboration and the noteworthy contributions made to the project by each of the member states, including Russia. Anyways, the palladial field magnet that will adorn the top of the ITER tokamak was donated by Russia. It is the smallest of the 6 ring-shaped magnets that encircle the ITER tokamak, with a diameter of 9 meters and a mass of about 160 tons. 4 ring-shaped palladial field magnets with diameters ranging from 17 to 24 meters have been designed by Europe and installed on site in France. The bottom of the partially constructed ITER tokamak already contains a 10-meter palladial field magnet constructed by China. Additionally, China is providing 18 superconducting correction coil magnets to help adjust the plasma processes, while Korea manufactured the machinery required to pre-assemble ITER's main components. Japan produces 43 kilometers of niobium tin superconductor strand, which was used to create the central solenoid modules in the U.S. The cryostat, the stainless steel vacuum shell that surrounds the entire ITER tokamak, is 30 meters high and 30 meters in diameter. It was constructed in India. It was created by ITER India, a project organization with unique authority inside the Department of Atomic Energy, Independent Institute for Plasma Research. To manufacture and install the ITER cryostat, L&T Heavy Engineering was hired. The majority of the project's funding, 45%, comes from Europe, the host member, which also provides the ITER tokamak and its support systems. Each of the United States, China, India, Japan, Korea, and Russia contributes 9%. In a statement, ITER Director General Pietro Barabaschi said ITER is unique not only because of its technical complexity, but also because of the framework of international cooperation that has sustained it through changing political landscapes. It is anticipated that ITER will start conducting scientific operations around 2034. In 2039, the deuterium tritium operation might start. So, what is fusion, and how do we? When it comes to fiction, you don't need to go fancy because practical fusion has often been portrayed in science fiction as a game-changing technology with advanced societies, starships, and even superhuman abilities powered by this clean, nearly endless energy source. Everyone is aware of the 1985 film Back to the Future and Mr. Fusion gadget, a little fusion generator that powers the powerful DeLorean time machine and represents the pinnacle of portable renewable energy. We still won the DeLorean because of its fictional qualities, even though it was a lousy vehicle in real life. I saw the film at the age of 16, right out of the French Avoriaz Festival, and for my generation, it will always rank alongside the immovable classics like Odyssey 2001, Scanners, Screamers, Aliens, and the Terminator, and so on. Additionally, take note of Spider-Man 2, in which Dr. Otto Octavius constructs a fusion reactor to produce a sustainable energy source, but it goes over and it becomes a major plot point. And also The Saint from 1997, whose plot centers on the discovery of cold fusion, which promises abundant, inexpensive energy and piques interests around the world. Also, another notable example is Iron Man from 2008, in which Tony Stark's suit is powered by his arc reactor, a miniature fusion device that symbolizes technological advancement. In The Dark Knight Rises from 2012, a prototype fusion reactor is in danger of being turned into a bomb, underscoring the potential and danger of fusion technology. I don't know if that's possible, but fusion is frequently used in science fiction as the foundation for sophisticated propulsion systems that enable starships to travel great distances. For instance, a tiny tokamak reactor serves as the foundation for NASA's proposed Discovery 2 spacecraft, which will travel quickly to Jupiter. Inertial confinement fusion, a technique frequently seen in hard science fiction, is used in Project Daedalus and other futuristic designs to drive spaceships at great speeds, as demonstrated by characters like Firestorm in The Flash, who receive amazing powers through a fusion reaction. Fusion is occasionally associated with the development of superhuman abilities in superhero fiction. And the future, well, the discovery and adoption of fusion energy, often described as free or virtually limitless, would not make the human race useless. Instead, it is expected to transform societies, economies, and industries in profound but positive ways. And in addition to allowing new technologies and industries, fusion energy would significantly lower energy prices by providing abundant, clean, and reasonably priced power. By replacing fossil fuels, this might raise living standards, increase the global GDP by trillions of dollars, and combat climate change. Public health, quality of life, and air and water quality would all be enhanced by having abundant energy, particularly in emerging nations where access to electricity is still restricted. Instead of rendering humans obsolete, fusion would open new opportunities, such as supplying heat for industry, enabling sophisticated manufacturing, desalinating water, and powering energy-intensive artificial intelligence. Rather than making individuals useless, history demonstrates that technical advances such as steam power or electricity have changed the nature of employment and established new fields. Without the environmental drawbacks of existing energy sources, fusion offers a sustainable answer to the world's expanding energy needs, since it emits no greenhouse gases and creates very little radioactive waste. Despite the abundance of energy, human creativity, management, innovation, and decision-making will continue to be crucial for directing its use, guaranteeing guaranteeing its fair distribution and tackling emerging problems. So one might say that the fusion is merely a manifestation of the wonderful things that lie ahead. Because for a long time, the expression fusion is always 40 years away has been used to convey uncertainty on the rate of advancement in nuclear fusion energy. And this saying is still only partially true in 2025. Whether it is true or not, I cannot choose anything that I don't see working. So in a world where we must choose between fossil fuels and nuclear, the options are not particularly good, but I will be picky about whatever comes up in the future. Yes, I agree with waves, wind, solar, geothermal, and fusion. Anything is better to our current situation when we are caught between two rocks. So it's a transition time before the fusion comes. So you know what to do, no matter what the future holds. Just, stay selective. Bye-bye.